Hello, I'm Dan.
And I'm Stefan.
And welcome to What to Watch this month, bringing you the biggest and best films coming to your local Vue this July. First up, Ice Age Collision Course.
Hey look, shooting stars!
Oh, quick, make a wish, you gotta make a wish!
Wow, my wish came true.
This is the 5th Ice Age movie?
Yeah, well, this is Blue Sky Studios. It's their real kind of flagship franchise. So it's got all of the favourite characters. You've got sort of Sid, Manny, Diego, Scrat, of course, is always trying to get his acorn. And I think what the franchise has always done is kind of reinvent itself. They've implemented kind of new kind of genres, and in this one, it's got the sci-fi element to it.
Yes. So in this one, we see Scrat once again chasing his acorn, but that's actually sort of the catalyst for the plot in this case, in that somehow Scrat, in some circumstances, finds himself in space. And that generates a sort of world-threatening event.
Yeah, no, I think the idea is that there's a big meteor strike on the horizon, and it's down to our favourite protagonists to save the planet, which is, I mean, it sets the precedence for some of the greatest kind of big adventure movies of all time, where sort of 3 or 4 individuals have to save the entire world.
Who's with me?
Crash and Eddie reporting for duty!
I think this movie really does look like it's the most impressive aesthetically, and I think obviously with the science fiction elements, it's expanded as well, but not just in the narrative, but the whole look of it, and I think it's going to really look the part on the big screen.
Absolutely. And talking of visual progression over the years, our next film is Ghostbusters.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Oh, did you want to?
Sorry, I'll let you.
Next time.
We're looking at, 32 years after the 1984 original? And so we've got to expect a slight improvement in the visuals department there.
Oh, definitely, and I think that's one of the reasons why we can almost justify the kind of existence of this reboot, is that we're able to bring this whole franchise and move it into the kind of modern world, into a kind of contemporary environment. With the resources now that the kind of studios have got, I mean, we can have some really quite visually incredible kind of ghosts in this film. And obviously, we've got the all-female Ghostbusters cast and an incredible range of comic talent. I mean, of course, Melissa McCarthy and Kristen Wiig have got remarkable careers in cinema already, but then Leslie Jones and Kate McKinnon made their name more so on Saturday Night Live. And they're going to bring such a wealth of comic ability to this film.
When you look at the careers of the 4 women who are playing the roles, they're very much in a similar position to where the likes of Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd were back then. You know, they were Saturday Night Live players, and they were kind of at the top of their comic game.
We're the Ghostbusters!
Obviously, Chris Hemsworth is on board as well, and I think that the kind of the banter between his character and the 4 Ghostbusters looks to be really funny. At the same time, it hasn't got this obligation to be funny the whole way through, because it's got a really strong story behind it. So it plays into the horror genre, the thriller genre. There's so many different kind of ideas within this movie that it doesn't need to be a kind of scattergun approach to jokes where you have to laugh every minute like you would when you see a comedy.
Yeah, I guess you need that kind of rhythm as well. You need the laughs to sort of deflate the horror.
Really?
The filmmaker Paul Feig, he's a big fan of Ghostbusters, and I think that he's going to implement all of this in a very affectionately, very loving way. And this is a film that I'm really, really excited about seeing.
So next, we've got Spielberg returning to family film territory with the BFG.
Bone cruncher, child chewer, meat dripper, gizzard gulper. You think because I'm a giant that I'm a man gobbling cannibal?
There is an argument to be had that one of the greatest family movie of all time is E.T. An argument I've had with myself and decided that it is.
It is, yeah.
And the idea behind that movie is this kind of friendship in the face of adversity between a young boy and obviously then an alien. But in the BFG, obviously it's a young girl and a giant, but it's that same sort of dynamic and a relatively similar theme. And with Spielberg at the helm, I mean, you just can't help but feel that this is going to be an absolute classic. And Roald Dahl, he writes such incredible stories for children, because there's something so dark about them and there's something quite twisted.
Yes.
But at the same time, they're enchanting and they're magical and they're just completely charming to kind of indulge in as a kind of audience member.
There are a lot of parallels there. Spielberg at the same time has never been one to shy away from the darker side, but also making sure that it doesn't stray too far into cynicism. There's always a great degree of heart, and I think Roald Dahl stories have always been like that as well. So you can see why it's sort of a match made in heaven.
I was hearing all the secret whisperings of the world.
It makes such a big difference, even if it is kind of a CGI creation, to have someone like Mark Rylance bringing that kind of subtlety and that nuance to the role, even just with the slightest look, you know, it makes a huge difference. And I think that the dynamic between Mark Rylance and the young Ruby Barnhill playing Sophie looks to be a really kind of a really great one. And I think that this just seems to be a film where everything's just come together.
And so we come to Star Trek Beyond, the third of the rebooted Star Trek timeline.
It's easy to get lost in the vastness of space.
The events of the film are largely shrouded in secrecy. What we do know is that we are now right in the heart of their 5-year mission to explore uncharted parts of the galaxy. And it seems that they're brought down on an alien planet and kind of have to survive in this harsh, unfamiliar alien environment. Sounds like classic Star Trek to me.
Yeah, and also, you know, we want to see these movies kind of progress and move forwards, and you've got to keep thinking, how can we get bigger? What can we do to the narrative that enlarges it and makes it more kind of immense in scope? And, you know, the idea here is that they're further than they've ever been, you know, and this idea that they've just been completely caught and lost on this remote planet. And I think they might share kind of shades of The Martian. I think they've got to try and live off the land and try and find a way to survive in this kind of very foreign landscape. It's got Justin Lin now on board, of course, and he's made his name in the Fast and Furious franchise, which is a franchise that just got better and better and better. And I think to bring in Justin Lin is a really kind of quite a shrewd move, because I think that he knows how to sustain the kind of the tone of a franchise, but with always at the same time sort of reinventing it and making it quite new and quite exciting. And I think to bring him in at this stage is quite a good move and quite exciting.
The kind of chemistry that was established in the first film, particularly between, you know, Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto, who really sort of captured that same vibe that William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy had back in the original Star Trek. That relationship is still there, but on top of that, you've got Zoe Saldana, John Cho, Simon Pegg, and, you know, the tragically late Anton Yelchin in there as well. That aspect of it just isn't even in question now. It's all about what's the story going to be like? Is there going to be a great villain? And hopefully with Justin Lin on board, are there going to be some incredible set pieces?
If you can strike that balance of being new and unique and at the same time giving the fans what they want, then, I mean, you're completely and utterly onto a winner. And I think what we've seen with the last 2 Star Trek films is that they've got the balance completely right, and I have no doubt that they'll do it again.
And we continue our run of new films shrouded in secrecy with Jason Bourne.
I know who I am.
Remembering everything doesn't mean you know everything.
Tell me.
Matt Damon is back as Jason Bourne, which I think we established wasn't his real name in the first film, but they kept going with that anyway. But also the return of director Paul Greengrass, who directed the second and third films, Born Supremacy and Ultimatum. So it sounds like it's a bit of a reunion. Yeah,
and I think Matt Damon said that he would only return to the character of Jason Bourne if Paul Greengrass would get on board. So he's got his wish, and the two of them have collaborated yet again.
This is Jason Bourne.
Jesus Christ, it's Jason Bourne.
It would seem that the original trilogy was really about him kind of discovering his murky background and finding out about the kind of shady government organisation that was responsible for making him the man he is. But now it seems that there's more to be discovered. He's still on the run, he's still in hiding, and something, we don't know what, has been enough to bring him back out of the shadows and back in action.
We're dealing with an almost kind of post-Snowden kind of world, and how that has kind of affected the characters and all of their kind of predicaments. And we have got a great kind of cast. I mean, Tommy Lee Jones is on board, Alicia Vikander. I mean, that's two of the kind of sort of safest bets in Hollywood at the moment. And I'm just what I love about this whole franchise. It's not afraid to just change. Obviously, the natural comparisons are James Bond, but Bond has got expectations that we want to see met. There are certain cars we want to see, certain gadgets. Whereas I feel with the Bourne films, I don't think it's got the kind of the ticking of boxes.
You say there's kind of no expectations. I have one expectation, and that is that Jason Bourne uses some seemingly innocuous household item to kill somebody. I think there was a rolled up newspaper or something he used in one film to beat.
Maybe just a spoon.
Just a spoon, just a little teaspoon that he's somehow used in a creative manner to take down a burly henchman. And so to another long-awaited sequel. This one definitely for family audiences though, and that's Finding Dory.
Hi, I've lost my family.
Where did you see them last?
I forgot.
I suffer from short-term memory loss. It runs in my family. At least I think it does.
Yeah, well, I think Pixar have shown that whenever anyone's a bit apprehensive about a sequel, they've completely knocked it out of the park. I mean, I was a huge fan of Monsters University, and obviously Toy Story 2 and Toy Story 3 are just remarkable pieces of cinema. And I expect exactly the same from Finding Dory. So the idea to this movie, of course, is that Dory is now the one. But you would assume, because Finding Dory would mean that she was the one who's lost. She's actually not. I think because of her short-term memory, I think she's always trying to find herself. So I think that's the kind of idea, the kind of pun in the title. But she wants to try and track down her parents, and she sets off into the kind of the broad depths of the ocean to find them.
I'm curious to see how Dory stands as a protagonist, because as a supporting character, the comedy potential is clearly there. The short-term memory loss is just. It's just a rich vein to be tapped for comic, for comic potential. I'm just really curious to see how the writers have turned that aspect of her character, the very fundamental aspect of the character, into something that allows her character to actually develop and progress over the course of the film.
Yeah, but I think that if you ask kind of pretty much any child or even adult after watching Finding Nemo who their favourite character was, they probably would say Dory. But I think one of the things they've seemed to have done is turn this into more of an ensemble piece.
Dory, there you are!
It just looks like it's going to be classic Pixar in that it's going to be moving and heartfelt, but funny and entertaining, and I just can't wait to see this film, I really can't.
Well, Stefan, thanks as ever for your expert insights. Always a pleasure hanging out with you in this abandoned screening room. Don't forget that you can book tickets for these and all of the other July releases over at myview.com. Thanks for watching and enjoy the big screen entertainment.